Also, I've just realized I made my entire auto crafting setup that I made today a little guy. He cute.
Hello everybody and welcome back to some more Stoneblock 4. Today, we are going to be finally getting into some auto crafting. But you might be wondering, why am I here at spawn? What am I doing with this guy? Well, because the first thing that we're actually gonna need is this crafting unit. We're gonna need to go ahead and grab 2 of these, and it's only for 25 bucks. Now, you could argue that this might be a bit of a waste of money, considering the fact that it's not as if it's too difficult for me to get. On the counter argument for that, I'm lazy, so we're just gonna go with that, and we're just gonna move on back home. So now that we've gotten these guys, though, not both of them are actually gonna be used for the same purpose, because these guys are simply just crafting blocks. One of these is gonna need to be converted into a crafting storage block. The other, a crafting coprocessor. Now the question is, do I have the things for the crafting coprocessor? I don't. It's literally just an engineer's processor. I'm honestly just gonna go ahead and make a bunch of these, but for those of you who saw the last video, you will recognize this. So now we can go ahead and combine one of these babies into our crafting coprocessing unit. Now, for the crafting storage, it's just as simple. We're just gonna need to mix it with a storage component, which I never actually crafted in the last video. It's pretty much just going to involve a lot of things that we actually already have, and it's also just going to involve another processor, so that's fine. But I want actually to upgrade this thing to the 16K, so I am going to go down that road a little bit, so it's going to need me to make a good few of these. So that's 3 times 3, so I believe I need 9 of these 1K ones.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
Okay, so I should have everything I need for these, so we just need to go ahead and make ourselves more Stardust Quartz.
37 seconds later.
Then I can just go ahead and divide all of this up to make 3 4Ks. It goes down drastically. And then we get ourselves our 16K. That's beautiful. So now we can go ahead and combine these 2 things together, which gets us our 16K crafting storage unit, which then completes this quest line and actually gives us another 16K and another crafting coprocessor. So now, here's what I can do with these. I changed my back thing over here to be a dense smart cable, because I can just buy the smart cables actually from that Echo that we bought the original crafting unit from, and then we can just combine these guys down by 4, and then we get ourselves the dense one, which has a total of 128 channels. Then we can just go ahead and take this baby up here, and then along the sides here, I can then go ahead and include a 16K storage and a crafting coprocessor. This is what's called a CPU. It is a multi-block that will help us with our auto crafting. I am going to go ahead and make myself 2 of these, so that way we can handle more than one process. And look at that. It looks like I've got a little solar panel. It's actually really sick. But now that we have those, we need the parts that are dedicated directly for auto crafting. These guys are just to help process that. The actual auto craft itself starts here with an ME pattern encoding terminal and blank patterns. We'll get into the blank patterns in a second, but for right now, the crafting terminal. It literally just takes another engineering processor, I've already got that, and another crafting terminal. We made that in the last video. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch it. Now, in the pattern encoding terminal, we will then see the whole inventory still in here. Actually, I think I can still extract and import from in here, so that's good. I still want it to be in descending order, but here we go. Now inside of here, we have 4 different types of pattern processes that we can make. One is for crafting. This is for direct crafts that can just be made inside of a molecular assembler. We will get to that later. Another is processing patterns, which can be used for external processes outside this machine. Like, say, if I wanted to process the circuit fabricator over here and connect that to there, I can do that. And then we also got smithing table and stone cutting. I mean, you're never going to need to do that. If you need to automate stone cutting or smithing templates, I don't know what you're doing, but you're wasting your time. So there we go. Now we've gotten that. The thing we need for this, though, is going to be some blank patterns. This just takes some quartz glass, glowstone, a quartz, well, a Certus quartz, iron, and copper. Next, we need the places for these guys to actually craft. And that's a little unfortunate, because for both of these guys, I need a formation and annihilation core, which are some of the ones that I had left over from the previous processes that I just used to make my pattern encoding terminal. But they're not that hard to get. Literally, it's just gonna need to be these 2 guys and then more More crafting tables. More crafting tables. Crafting tables for days. And then the molecular assembler is basically just the same, but instead of the crafting tables, it's Certus quartz glass and then just another crafting table. It's just so much crafting tables.
5 minutes later.
So now what I can go ahead and do, I can take my cables even higher. Higher than they have ever gone before. And then we can just go ahead and start putting these guys. Hang on, how do I want to do this? Do I want to do it like this? I mean, it might look nicer like this because then we could have it be these guys here and then the channels carry over. So then it's these guys all around here. The question is, do I want it to be inversed? Because even though these guys are online, it might not register unless it's actually touching the cables. I think as long as it's adjacent, it should still be fine. So there we go. All of these guys are all online and ready to take in their stuff. Now here's the question. How much FE are they taking? Okay, only 16, and then this one, and then those don't take FE at all. Probably until they're actively being used. That's good to know. The only thing that is left for us to do is to actually get a crafting pattern that we want auto-crafted. I know exactly what I need to auto-craft. Storage components. And the reason why I need to auto-craft storage components is very, very simple. We are going to need a 64K ME storage component in a second, so that way we can start getting singularities. We can just go ahead, add all of this here to be in this pattern right here. So there we go. Now we have ourselves the crafting pattern for this guy. And if we press shift, I can actually see what's going on in there. And then I can just go ahead and do this for each and every single level of these until I get to 64K. So now I could just go into one of these pattern providers and just throw all of these guys into here. And then it will start crafting in these adjacent ones once I request it. And I can request it in here. You can see there's these little plus symbols. I can just click it, and then it will show me this thing telling me what I am missing and also other things that I can craft. Because the next thing that we're going to need is going to be a processing pattern. Because if we go back, we need the calculation processors to be auto-crafted. Those guys are all made over here. So we've already seen how I do the patterns. We already know that I need to go to a processing pattern if I want this to be the case. I'm going to see if I can figure out how to do this, and I'll see you all in a second.
Eventually.
Alrighty, I got all the cables hooked up over into here. We've got the pattern provider. So the only issue that I haven't quite figured out yet is how to import things back into it. But that is fine. Let us first make sure that this is gonna work. So if I go ahead and type in silicone, we can go ahead and then craft one of these. It'll take a silicone out, and then it should send it over into here. And yeah, it's been crafted. But as long as that is still in there, the craft request will still be locked in here, and then eventually this thing can end up getting backed up. That is probably where it would be best for me to just grab a standard importer. Now, the import bus is not that hard to get. It's just an annihilation core with 2 iron and a piston. And just to make sure that this thing doesn't get confused, because I did need to make another annihilation core, meaning I did need to use up my silicone plate for this. I'm gonna go ahead and import one of these manually. And then if there was ever a problem in there, even if it's not showing it here, that should hopefully fix it. And it also helped to demonstrate that there we go. This does indeed work out very well. Now, you might notice another problem, which is that the cables are just here, and this is kind of not the best looking thing, which there is an easy way to fix that, which is these cable facades. They are not hard to get. It's just some wool, some brown, not brown, some yellow and red dye. I mixed the colors together, and apparently that made brown in my head. But we can just go ahead and get these facades, and then what we can do is we can combine them with blocks. I believe this one was for the mud. There we go. And then we had moss, and then we just need to fill the rest of these in with grass. Alrighty, so now that I've gotten all of this ready, the only thing left that I need to auto-craft is our 64K storage component, which is only missing some more quartz glass. I never made a recipe for that, and also a whole lot of Certus quartz crystals. Now, I have the Certus quartz generating over here. I've just never actually automated the generation of it.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Alrighty, I should have everything now. And yes, there doesn't appear to be any problems here. If there was a problem, it would tell me. So we can just go ahead and click start. But yeah, if I didn't have like enough crafting storage for all the components that are going to be going into this, then it would sort of start saying, hey, you've got something wrong. You don't want to do this. We don't want to do this. Stop trying to make us do this. And then it would just, you know, crap out on me. But it's already done. So now that we have this, the last thing that we're going to need from this portion of it, why am I over here in the quest lines? What on earth? The last thing that I'm going to need is the matter condenser. It is not a difficult block to get. I literally only need to get myself one of my Fluix crystal dusts, and then we can go ahead and get ourselves a matter condenser. Now, what's beautiful about the matter condenser is this does not need to be inside of the network at all. It literally just needs to be put somewhere at random. I'll just go ahead and put it here for now, and then we can just put this thing up here. And then what we can do is we can ME condenser output in destroys, we can make it into matter balls, or we can make it into singularities. Now, this is going to convert items into these things. So for this, it'd take 256 items into a matter ball, but this could be done with anything lower than this. For the singularities though, which take 256,000, we are going to need either the 64K or higher. Now, that also means we're gonna need a lot of items to burn, or alternatively, a lot of water for me to burn. Now, water I could get in a multitude of ways, but it begs the question, does the sink exist? The sink exists. So then we can just go ahead and put this baby here, and then it should be able to give us water. Unless, of course, sinks must be supplied. Okay, so here's the thing. There are two different types of sinks in modded Minecraft. Ones that need water to go into them, and then ones that do not. This is apparently the one that needs the water to go into it. I don't know if it's actually the same mod and they're changed in the configs or whatever, but so yeah, looks like this will not be able to help us. There is the infinite water cell, which I can get at the catalyst. I am now down to 60 bucks. This is freaking expensive. Oh my gosh, but here we go. Now I can go ahead and pour all these into here. We have 4 acceleration upgrades to pull into here. And it's also filtered to be water. I had to make sure I did that. So then after that, we just need to go ahead and then put in our infinite water cell. And it's going in. It just goes in so slow. Okay, I actually might have a way to make this work. So apparently there's a thing here called the stock export bus. And what this thing apparently does is it can be configured to export an exact amount of the filtered stacks. So I'm hoping that I can actually configure this thing to be able to export exactly 256,000 of our water. I can still put the speed upgrades in here and it actually let me get more. That's good. I need to find water in JEI and then send this thing over to here. It says middle click to modify, but it's not letting me do it.
1 hour later.
Okay, so turns out my middle click button is just broken. I'm not even joking. I looked into how this is supposed to work and what it's supposed to mean. Turns out it was middle click, but it's just so broken that it just doesn't actually work. So what I had to do was, since I'm on Linux, I apparently have a setting where I can make it so that way when I press left and right click at the same time, it functions as middle clicking. And my mouse wheel is just, I don't know if it's dirty or what, but it wasn't working. Let's actually just go as high as I possibly can. Actually, you know what? Forget all this. Let's just keep pumping 9s until, okay, there we go. And then set it to that. So 999,000 will now go into here. And then we can just set that. Didn't even work. It could be a limit on the matter condenser itself. I don't know. I have one more possible way out of this. I don't know if it'll work, but it will cost the rest of my money. The infinite cobblestone cell. It could be because I'm using a fluid. So we're going to go ahead and throw this baby into here. I now have infinite cobblestone. It is faster than it was with the water. It's not as fast as I would like it to be. It probably does still have a hard cap. But at least after all that time, I was actually able to get a singularity out of this. So what even was I doing with this? I don't even remember anymore. We had gotten this whole thing, which then gives me that, which then actually gives me more storage components, so that's fun. I remember I may have wanted to make the quantum ring. Like, is that viable right now? I can. It'll at least give me some semblance of closure here. and it's not going to make any sense for me to do it anywhere else. So, you know what? Sure, we'll make the quantum ring. The quest reward will give me enough for me to make another one, so that's fine. So let's start with the simple option. The quantum entangled singularity. It's very simple. We just need an explosive like this tiny TNT, and then we just throw our ender pearl and our singularity there together. We ignite our TNT, and then once it explodes, it gives us our quantum entangled singularity. After that, the rest of this is just very simple. We need our quantum link chamber, which is just these Fluix pearls, which is an ender pearl mixed with some Fluix crystal and Fluix dust. And then we're just gonna need 8 of these ME quantum rings, which is just 2 logic processors, an engineered processor, a dense smart cable, and some energy cells, which is just more of the same of the stuff we've already done. It's all very easy. I'm gonna go ahead and grab it all, and then we'll be right back.
20 minutes later.
That is that quest line now done, which would give me enough for another quantum ring. All I really need before I can get that is this wireless access point, which I could buy from the Echo Shop for about 20 bucks. I'm a little short on that. We're gonna have to wait for me to be able to make the second quantum ring, because really, all I need to worry myself about is heading on back to spawn, as now we should already have everything for the next storage upgrade over here. So let's also go ahead and collect this. Wait, hold on. Oh, that's God-forged. Dude, look at me. Oh my gosh, I look sick. Okay, cool. So I guess we got a new helmet now. I'll figure something out to do with this one. But now I believe I needed to head over to you, or no, you weren't it. It was the light bender, wasn't it? Yeah, and then we can finish that. That completes his quest line. But since I already actually was able to get the money that I thought I wasn't going to be able to get for now, but apparently I can. So then we can go ahead and grab ourselves our wireless access point. So that gives us that, which lets us go ahead and head on back home. Now, with the wireless access point, what this baby would do is it will allow us to wirelessly access our storage network from a wireless terminal. Now, for us to get this wireless terminal, though, it's actually not that difficult. All we are going to need is our terminal of choice. See, like this one, I believe it wants it to be a crafting terminal, yeah. So we'd need to make another crafting terminal, and then we can mix that with a wireless receiver and a dense cell. And making this other terminal also used up the last of my illumination panels, so hopefully I don't need to do any more with terminals. So now with that, we can go ahead and get our money back from buying the dense thing, and also everything we need for another quantum chamber. That is good. So now we can take this and then pour this into here, which links it to our storage network. So now I can access all of this from inside of here. There is a bit of a limit to this. Now, this is actually where the quantum ring could come in handy, as we could actually input into here a wireless thing that helps to connect this guy to the quantum ring. That takes some more resources than I have right now, so I'll just do that off screen. For right now, though, what we can go ahead and do is put this right here, and then we just need to go in a little circle like this. Now we've gotten ourselves the quantum ring, which I can go ahead and put one of my quantum singularities in, which now lets this act as a bridge between here and wherever I put my other quantum link to, which would allow me to go across dimensions and stuff like that. It's actually incredibly sick. It's also what we need for our next world engine upgrade. So let's go ahead, head on down here, and then we can go ahead and find wherever the quest line is. Ah, yes, up here. So then we can just go ahead, deposit all of these, and then assemble it. Where's the music? Where are we going? Where are we going? Oh, and there it is. All building properly, and we can see through the glass. It looks weird through there, but there we go. Now, directly under here, actually, we now have ourselves our quantum link chamber, which I can then go ahead and throw the singularity in, connecting my storage from up there down to here, which probably means I can find a way to actually automate crafting in the world engine itself. It's absolutely gonna be insane. So there we go. All that is left for us in this level of questing would be to either go through this whole thing, which leads to some boss fights and some Malum. I don't think I really want to do that. Or we can go down the main route, which will allow us to start getting ourselves even more machines. But that is for later. For right now, all I need to worry about is opening up today's chance cube. Yes, it is that part of the show where I open a chance cube, risking my life for all your entertainment. Let's go ahead and see what happens. Dova John, you've got magic feet. What? Whoa, whoa! Whoa! I'm making ores! Wait, yo, what? You used up all the magic in your feet. I don't know how deep it went. It kind of messed up my altar a little bit. I'm gonna need to get some more smooth stone. G freaking G. That's the luckiest lucky block I've ever gotten. Also, I've just realized I made my entire auto crafting setup that I made today a little guy. He cute. Did you like the video? Good. Then be sure to check out our last Stoneblock 4 video where we started our digital storage system. Bye-bye!